Ben Carson's nomination hearing to become the next head of the Department of Housing and Urban Development is taking place today. And he had some interesting interactions on a couple of different topics, which we're going to cover here. In this first one, you're going to see the very real concerns that he, because he is so anti-LGBT, might not be willing to fight for their equal access to housing and other related issues that he would be in charge of if he headed up HUD. You're going to see his response to a question concerning that here.
Your statement mentions your desire to improve the lives of all families and communities, quote, no matter their race, creed, color, or orientation. Yet you have in the past raised questions about whether LGBTQ people should enjoy the same rights as everyone else. Do you believe that HUD has a duty to take actions that promote equal access to housing opportunities for LGBTQ people?
If confirmed in this position, of course, I would enforce all the laws of the land. And I believe that all Americans, regardless of any of the things that you mentioned, should be protected by the law. What I have mentioned in the past is the fact that no one gets extra rights. Extra rights means you get to redefine everything for everybody else. That, to me, doesn't seem to be very democratic.
That's what we're talking about, but I'm glad to hear you say that moving forward, you will respect that.
So maybe I'm being unfair, I guess, but I think we all know exactly what he said there, is that it doesn't matter if the Supreme Court said gay individuals can get married. No, that's extra rights. You're redefining it for everybody else. So will he defend their rights, the ones he thinks they have?
No, it's not extra rights to have the same rights. Yeah. It's a definitional issue, right? Do we all have the same rights to get married? Well, yeah, no. It's just so topsy-turvy because it's Orwellian. We're the straight people are the ones with extra rights. We get to marry whoever we want, right? And he doesn't want that. And then the consequences that flow from that would affect his job at Housing and Urban Development. Okay, for this confirmation hearing, what I'm most amused, frustrated by is like, the media plays up this thing that the Republicans are pushing forward. And by the way, this is not just a Republican thing. And Republicans and Democrats do this depending on whoever's in charge. And the media goes along and it drives me crazy. The touchstone, apparently, of these confirmation hearings will be Ben Carson's personal story. He grew up in poverty and then his mom told him to get an education and stuff. I'm not belittling that story. That's a wonderful story. I have a very similar story. And, you know, I interviewed my dad, not just liberals, conservatives seem to love it. Go check it out on TYT interviews. They're like, how did a guy like that produce a liberal son of a bitch like you? Okay. So, yeah, bootstraps, work your way up, get an education. That doesn't mean I should run NASA. Those are two separate things. You know, and it doesn't mean my dad should run NASA. Right? Yeah,
give him a try.
My dad lived the American dream. In some ways, Ben Carson lived the American dream. But it doesn't mean he's qualified for this job.
It's a little bit offensive, honestly, that Marco Rubio introduced him with this he grew up in the inner city thing, which has been the only defense that anyone on the right has provided for him since he was nominated to be in the position. The idea that because he grew up in the inner city, well, HUD, that's that inner city thing the government does. Clearly, it's a perfect match. That's an insane thing to say. He didn't even live in subsidized housing, government housing, when he was growing up. So it's not even accurate. But look, it was interesting, I think, that considering that this is a guy who said at one point that he doesn't want to head up a department because he's not qualified and he might cripple Trump's presidency, was not asked about that quote, as far as I can see, as far as I could find during the hearing. This is also a guy who said at one point, these government-engineered attempts to legislate racial equality create consequences that often make matters worse, and there are reasonable ways to use housing policy to enhance the opportunities available to lower-income citizens, but based on the history of failed socialist experiments in this country, entrusting the government to get it right can prove downright dangerous. This is a guy who's going to be in charge of a department that puts out billions and billions and billions of dollars of funding every single year, has almost 10,000 employees, I believe, has to deal with issues of racial equality and trying to get people government housing who doesn't believe that government housing or racial equality are the business of the government.
And that's why they put him in there to destroy that department. Yeah. So he says he's going to go on a listening tour. I don't know what that has to do with anything. And the Republicans, it's they view it as his second best qualification. They're like, well, now remember he was born poor and come on, the guy's black, right? Yeah. And he's going to run, housing, public housing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. And he's going to go on a listening tour, and he might actually give a damn what you guys think. Yeah. Right?
His third best quality is he has never in his life suffered from insomnia.
And so if I said, hey, I'm going to run the Food and Drug Administration, I don't know anything about that. And, well, your food might get poisoned and so might your drugs because I have no qualifications whatsoever. But I have a really good life story, and I'll go listen to you about your food and drugs. You'd probably go, I don't know about that. Look, they could have been a lot more honest because it isn't Food and Drug Administration. It isn't NASA, right? They could have just said, hey, look, the guy who won the presidency has no government experience either. So he has no government experience. And, yeah, he's generally opposed to government action. But we won and you guys didn't. And so he's going to go in there and he might keep some of it and he might lose some of it. And that's life in the big city because we won. That would at least be an honest approach. And there, I actually would be hard-pressed to stop them because they did win.
Well, they will be hard-pressed to stop him, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm sure that he'll pass. Already corporate Democrats are saying, well, I came in, Heidi Heitkamp from North Dakota. Well, I came in a little skeptical, but his personal story has really affected me. All right?
I've heard that personal story before.
And finally, if you're wondering which direction he is actually going to go, I think the most devastating quote was, he had said that earlier that he did not want people vegetating year after year in public housing. So he does not have...
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that means I don't want you to live in public housing. That's why they put me in charge of public housing so I can kick you out.
Yeah.
If you sign up for TYT membership, you'll be saying,
thanks a lot, bitch.
TYTnetwork.com/join.